of my chest, train my mind so I forget.
Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel. So if my sweatshirt is any indication of what we're going to be talking about today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite movies at the moment, and that is Tombstone. So being a history buff, when I look at a movie that has something to do with history, I always want to know how historically accurate movies are, and I also love looking at trivia for different movies. And Tombstone is full of trivia and history, so we're going to get into that. Spoiler alert, this video is going to have spoilers. In this video, I have a ton of other Tombstone type of videos that I have planned. I'll talk about some of those in this video, but if you want to know more about Tombstone's history and things you may not have known about the movie, keep on watching. So, to start out, for those of you who do not know the movie, which you're not alone, I just recently watched it this year and fell in love, but Tombstone is an American Western film that was made in 1993 based on the events in Tombstone, Arizona surrounding the gunfight at the OK Corral and the Earp Vendetta ride during the 1880s. It stars Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp. You have Sam Elliott as Virgil Earp, the late Bill Paxton as Morgan Earp, rest in peace. But Bill Paxton actually died on my birthday in 2012. That's so sad. And of course, my favorite, Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. And Doc Holliday is going to get his own separate video because some of the quotes that he says in the movie are historically accurate, and there's also some different meanings behind it, so that is going to be its own video. But that's basically the movie. As the actual place, it is a real place. Tombstone, Arizona was founded in 1879 by a prospector. There was silver found in the area, and then how it got its name was another prospector was lured to the country or the countryside where Tombstone was after being told that the only kind of stone that he would find there is his tombstone. But it grew significantly because of the silver that was found there, and it became one of the symbols of the Wild West. And some historians say that even for the Wild West, it was wilder than the Wild West. But basically, some of the biggest, or one of the biggest locations that is there is the Birdcage Theater. It is still there. It was actually on a couple of episodes of Ghost Adventures. Zach Bagans, however the heck you say his name, and his group went there and investigated the area some, which I may actually do a video on that because I have some issues with that. But anyway, that is still there, and there's a couple of other buildings from the time period that's there, but it's mostly just an attraction site now. But I would really love to go one day. So anyway, I think that's all I'm going to actually talk about the history of Tombstone, just because this is about the movie. But I will leave some links down below for more information about the actual Tombstone for you to check out. I am going to be doing, I've read like some Tombstone inspired books. I'm going to be doing a separate review on those, and I want to split it into like novels and then biographies because I am really interested in this point of time. The Wild West has always interested me, so I will be doing a separate video on that, so we may get more into the history on that. But I really just want to jump into the movie and what it missed and the good that it had. So I did mention all of the Earps that were in the movie. Mostly you had Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan, who's listed on my shirt. Regardless of that, there are actually some Earps that were missing from that movie, and as much as I don't want to promote it, the movie Wyatt Earp does have more of the Earp brothers in it, but that's its own thing. I'm definitely going to be doing a movie review on that and comparing it to Tombstone, because it Yeah. But the Earps were 9 siblings in total. So their brother James was actually in Tombstone during the OK Corral events, but he was at home eating lunch. So that's why he didn't attend. He was a bartender and a brothel owner.
Yeah, so there you go.
And then their other brother Warren was deputized, and he actually joined Wyatt during his Vendetta ride, which, if you don't know what that is, they explain that in Tombstone, but basically, in real life and in the movie, Wyatt Earp's brother Virgil gets hurt by the cowboys in the movie, and Morgan actually gets fatally shot in the back, and he dies. So Wyatt goes after the cowboys that harmed his brothers. So that's what his Vendetta ride is about. So that is something, like, on the one hand that Tombstone missed, but on the other hand, those brothers didn't really play a big part in, like, the OK Corral. So they could have included him during the other brother Warren during the Vendetta ride, but honestly, I don't think that the addition of James would have done anything for the Tombstone movie. That's just my opinion. That's coming from a history person, just based on the events that it was for. It made more sense for Wyatt Earp to have him because it was more about Wyatt's life, like it went through his entire life in that movie, whereas Tombstone just focused on the events in Tombstone, so I can understand why Wyatt Earp had all of the Earp brothers in it and not Tombstone. But that is fact number 1. Number 2 was something that I was very interested to find out. So, toward the end of the movie, there is a scene where Wyatt Earp is wading into a creek to shoot Curly Bill, and that actually happened historically. One of the was he a cowboy? But one of the people involved in that fight, Johnny Barnes, actually survived and lived to tell how Wyatt went into the water and did not get shot. So that's really interesting. Another interesting fact is, with all of the gunfights that Wyatt has had in his life, he never got harmed. Like, that's just amazing to me. But that really did happen. That's one of the cinematic moments in that movie. And to know that it really happened in real life, it's just, see, history is interesting and it's beautiful. That just made me so happy. Now, number 3, when I found this out, it would have ruined Tombstone, I think, because one of the best parts of Tombstone is Val Kilmer's portrayal as Doc Holliday.
I don't care what anybody says. You can hate me all you want. He made that movie. I mean, Kurt Russell as Wyatt was awesome. Sam Elliott in any movie is awesome. And then Bill Paxton is such a sweetheart. He was so adorable in that movie.
I say adorable as he's a gunslinger, but whatever.
But Val Kilmer as Doc, I don't care what anybody says. He was wrong. He should have got awards for that movie. He has some of the best lines ever in that movie. And for him to not get anything, he was robbed.
But surprisingly, William Dafoe nearly played Doc Holliday. And if you don't know who that is, you'll most likely know him as the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man franchise. But he was actually the first choice for Doc Holliday, which I just can't imagine that. But the reason why the movie makers didn't go with him is because of the role that he played in the controversial movie The Last Temptation of Christ. So that's why he didn't get the part, which is good, because just whenever anybody says anything about Tombstone, they mention Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. And I mean, there's just no other words. So the next clip the next couple of facts are actually about Doc Holliday and Val Kilmer. So this is going to have its own separate video, like I've already stated. But Doc Holliday actually said,
"Or Daisy, if you do."
like he really said that in real life. And if you want to know the meaning behind it, you're going to have to stick around for my other video. But most of the lines that he said, like his famous lines, are pretty historically accurate, especially "I'm your Huckleberry," which again, that's going to be in the other video. I'm going to be discussing that, and "You're a Daisy if you do," or it's talking about "You're a Daisy." So those are pretty much historically accurate, but we'll get into that in separate videos, so stay tuned for that. Number 5 is something that I have basically watched for now in all of Val Kilmer's movies. There's a scene when he's first introduced as Doc Holliday where he has a coin in his fingers and he's rolling it. And he actually, this is like a movie staple for him. He does it in Top Gun. There's a pen, he has it, he's twirling it. And Real Genius, he has 2 coins and he's actually doing that. He does it a couple of times in Real Genius. The Doors, when he plays Jim Morrison, he's in the back of a limo and he has a drumstick and he's doing that too. So those are the only movies that I've actually seen him doing that. And when I actually mentioned that clip to my mom, she said, "I remember in Top Gun with him with the pen doing that." So I think it's like a staple with him, kind of like Matthew McConaughey, how he has like that line that he says all the time. So that's just really cool to look out for if you ever see any of other Val Kilmer's movies, which I can recommend a lot of them for you, but that's really cool to look out for. And finally, the last bit of information for this video, there is a tombstone at the beginning of the... Excuse me? So there's a tombstone at the beginning of the movie, and it says, "Here lies Lester Moore," and it's got a bunch of other things on it. That's actually based on a real tombstone. That part of the movie was filmed at like a little amusement attraction park that they have in Tombstone, but that is based on a real tombstone that is in the... oh my gosh, what is that cemetery called? Boot Hill Cemetery. So the movie Tombstone was actually filmed in like the part of Tombstone that's actually there now, and also in the little amusement park called Knott's Berry Farm Theme Park. It was filmed in both of those locations, so that's where the tombstone in the movie, it's in that part. So that is all of the facts I have for you. I have found a couple of videos that talk about like how historically accurate Tombstone is. If you want to watch them, I'll have them linked down below, as well as some other readings. Look out for other Tombstone videos that I will have in the future, because they will be coming, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.